This is Channel 253. Beep, boop, boop, boop.
On this episode of the Grit and Grain podcast.
They just decided to do just lagers, and I think we did it at the right time. Lagers are really, really popular right now because they're clean, they're classic, and just people always want to throw back to a lager. And so that's just kind of our idea, is that we want to do clean, hard to do technical beers that or that are still easy drinking, nostalgic beers.
Welcome to the Grit and Grain podcast, where we explore and celebrate the craft beer industry, community, and history in Tacoma, Washington, and surrounding Pacific Northwest areas. Thank you so much for hanging out. Let's get to it. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Grit and Grain podcast, coming to you guys from the historic Parkway Tavern in Tacoma, Washington. My name is Matt McLaren. I'm here, of course, with Ron Swarner.
Hi, Matt.
How's it going, Ron?
Great.
You always sound sarcastic.
It's true.
I know you're doing... Wait, it's true that you're sarcastic, or it's true?
No, it's true that everything's great.
That was fucking dark. It's true. Everything's great.
I'm just fine.
Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, if you're free on Wednesday afternoons, you're welcome to come and hang out in the Red Room while we record. It's a lot of fun. You can hang out, talk to the guests, be a laugh track, because we really need those for the jokes. And then, and then you can hang out and have a beer afterwards, and it's super fun. We have an awesome guest today.
Indeed.
Somebody who we've been talking to for a while, and I'm glad we finally made it happen. And it was kind of on short notice, so thank you so much. Our guest today is Stacey from Headless Mumby Brewing in Olympia.
Hey!
What's up, dude?
Hey, everybody.
Thank you for coming up.
Oh, absolutely.
This is super exciting. Stacey and I just randomly connected in her classroom where she teaches, which we're going to talk about. There's a ton of stuff to talk about. Yeah. If you're not familiar with Headless Mumby, they are a lager-only brewery based in Olympia and have been turning all kinds of nerdy heads for like 5-ish years now.
It'll be 5 years in November, yeah.
Yeah, damn, that's awesome. Before we get into all that, what are you drinking?
I actually have the Happy Little Clouds from Cloudburst. I was gonna say Cloudwater. I don't know why, but Cloudburst Brewing. You guys got me nervous.
Recently,
no.
It's just beers and microphones.
Yeah. Happy Little Clouds is a good one because it's a nice hoppy lager. It's been taking a lot of awards in those categories too.
I know. Just recently, actually, was it a silver or a bronze?
I believe it was. I believe it was bronze, but I know they did silver at GABF as well. So
yeah, man, that beer is.
Yeah,
something.
Beer's got a lot of heavy metal.
It's got Happy Little Clouds.
Yeah, exactly. Ron, what do you have?
I have the Chuckanet Kolsch.
Good choice. I almost grabbed that.
Yeah.
But I saw fast fashion on, and I had to try it because it's always delicious. But I also have Women's Work IPL.
Yeah.
From you.
Yes, this is our. We do a Pink Boots brew every year.
Yeah.
Our last two iterations, we went with this title of the Women's Work IPL. So this one was with Citra and Azaka, and it's got a lot of high tropical notes.
Mm-hmm.
Very, in my opinion, it tastes like a pineapple, like Capri Sun. Like I don't know why, but
Capri Sun. Actually, that's a good call. Orange and pineapple is like those are the flavors of Capri Sun.
Yeah.
And Azaka has this crazy like marmalade-y like orange flavor. Yeah, I didn't think Capri Sun until you said it, and I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah. That's my thing about Azaka. I've paired it with some other things, and it does really well, but it does better when you get like, again, another kind of citrus or tropical in there because it just like makes it pop a lot better. So putting in that Citra with that Azaka really worked really well.
So good.
Stacey, before we get into your past life and how you got into beer, I think probably everybody wants to know about how the brewery got its name.
Yeah. We have a quite a extensive marketing campaign on what I can cuss, right? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Our signage, I'll just say WTF, but it's like, what the fuck is a Headless Mumby?
Yeah.
It's really short version is the two original owners were Alex Maffeo and Keith Ciani. They had met in the local homebrew club. Joining passions, decided to start a brewery, decided to start a lager-only brewery. They had this whole entire like bracket challenge to come up with a name, because the name can really mean a lot. And both of them, being home brewers, had their own individual names for the home breweries. Alex was Mumby, because there's an area out past Little Rock that they're used to in the 1900s. There was a logging and shingle mill called Mumby Logging and Shingles, and that's where he lives. Mumby Brewing. And then Keith is a huge Warren Zevon fan, which there's a song that Warren Zevon does. It's Rolling with the Headless Thompson Gunner. And that's like Keith's favorite. Like, he's got a bunch of headless tattoos, and so his was Headless Brewing. They did a whole bracket challenge. They came up with, I don't even remember, because it was such a generic kind of copy paste name.
Yeah.
Literally called up each other up the next day and like, screw it, let's just do Headless Mumby. No one's gonna understand it, and maybe we'll get some extra clicks on the social medias. And sure enough, yeah,
it's such a huge talking point. Everybody's like, what the hell is that?
Our number one thing is we've had quite a few people who are huge Return to Oz fans, which I didn't realize had such a large fan base. Because there's a character that's called a Mumby or Mumbai. Mm-hmm. She's like, and she removes the heads of people. And so everyone thinks that that's what we did. And I'm shocked at how many like huge Return to Oz fans we get in being like, oh, we had to come the minute we saw the name. And we're like, we are sorry to disappoint.
Yeah.
I feel like we have to get a poster or something up just to like kind of appease those fans. But
yeah.
And Darby's is not around anymore, so they can't get their fix. Because Darby's Cafe used to have all the Wizard of Oz characters everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And they eventually went on to open 3 Magnets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We were just talking about 3 Magnets.
Yeah.
Because they fucking Seattle Eater for like the 3rd time in like a year has reposted the article that Seattle or Washington finally has its first non-alcoholic local craft beer.
Doing quality journalism up there.
I know. And they credit Fremont every fucking time they repost this article. When self-care has been around for like 3 years, man.
Yeah, it's been.
And it's like the gold standard in terms of like non-alcoholic recipe development.
Yeah, Aaron Blondin's crushing it with those NAs.
Seriously.
And they're amazing. But yeah, they credit where credit's due. They definitely have been doing that for quite a few years now.
Yeah, man.
And those Instagram comments were brutal.
Wait, what? I missed that. What?
Oh, don't read the comments section. Well, I mean, read the comment section. But
It's very entertaining.
Oh my God. What are the highlights?
I hate to be the eater.
Yeah, it's just
Okay. I'm going right now. You guys keep talking.
I'm going in.
So, were they and are you members of the South Sound Suds Society? Oh, that's so many
I know.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Unique New York. Unique New York.
The South Sound Sud Society is the Olympia Washington Homebrew Club. Yeah. So they were both members of the South Sound Sud Society, and that's also where I met both Keith and Alex. So I've been there since day one in various, multiple, and all capacities, and I met them through the Homebrew Club. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
How did you get into beer?
Also from the South Sound Sud Society.
Okay.
So I, kind of the classic tale of going to college and trying your first craft beer and feeling the light from the gods shine down on you.
What was it?
Pyramid's Apricot Hefeweizen.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was extremely popular back in the day.
And it was a summer seasonal. I was actually kind of like, so right across from my apartment, there was like this wings place in I went to Ellensburg, Central Washington University. Go Wildcats! There's a wing place, and it was called Wing Central, and they had a Beer 101, which is basically between their draft and bottle, they had 101 beers on site, and you'd get a card, and every time you drank one, they'd sign off on that little section, and if you finished it, you got invited to an exclusive grad party. You get a special mug, a T-shirt, yay, sis boom bop. Well, we went there all the time. He was then my boyfriend, my now husband, with our friends, and they eventually like peer pressured me into doing it because they all drank beer, and I was like, beer's icky, yeah, ew, So
what
they
were you drinking instead?
The only beer I drank was out of a beer pong cup, And I was mostly just like at that point in time into the, the whatever people are pouring into Capri Suns at a party, like whatever we're pouring into the Hawaiian fruit punch. Like, so then we did, but again, the Beer 101 started, you start with the macros, you get a lot of Bud Lights and those just kind of like gulf down. But then I tried the Pyramid Apricot Hefeweizen and I was like, wow, this is actually really good.
There's flavor here.
I know. And then, so then the next one right after that was their regular Hefeweizen. And I was like, I like that. So then I just started buying those. And this was back Iron Horse Brewing days. Shout out, Ricky. I love you.
Yeah.
I know you're at Barth House now, but we lived by the OG location. So this is before they had the downtown pub and before they had the large production facility. And so we lived like 20-minute walk. And so we were there all the time. And once we like got our second house, so we were there all the time. And so then it was their High Five Hefeweizen, and then it was the Irish Death. It's so smooth, it's so chocolatey, and then then it was just spiral from there. So then
a spiral,
spiral up, spiral down, whatever you want to say. But
no.
Then we started doing the home brew thing. Mostly my husband really wanted to get into home brewing. I really just was a huge craft beer nerd at that point in time. So I brewed probably a total of 5 batches before I talked to a mutual friend at the South Sound Stud Society who said he was leaving his cellar position at Fish Brewing.
Okay.
And he would put in a good word for me with Paul Pearson, who's now the head brewer at Well 80, but was then the head brewer at Fish. So I had actually just had my first son and had quit my job due to not being able to get my job back. It's a weird, gross situation. But so I left that job, was going to be the stay-at-home parent, and then decided that I would actually go into brewing. And so I got a cellar position at Fish. Worked there. I was working there for about 6 months before Paul approached me about working my way up to the brew deck. And so then I started brewing there, and I was there for about 2.5 years before I left there.
Dang, dude.
And then I had a second kid. I was working at a nano homebrew shop and had my second kid. And then I worked at Headless Swampy.
Nice. You were at Headless from day one.
Day one,
right?
yeah.
I met my first, so when Abe was still at 3 Mags, shout out to Abe and to Ilk Beer.
Ilk Beer.
Who hopefully you guys go back and listen to that one if you haven't, because it's a fantastic episode. And they're so close. So when Abe was still at 3 Mags, I was talking to her one day, and you guys had just opened, and she was like, hey, have you heard of Headless Mumby yet? And I was like, nope, not at all. And she was like, just so you know, like she knew exactly what to say to me. She goes, just so you know, when our brewers get off shift, that's where they go drink. Mm-hmm. And I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And I like Googled you guys 100 times and didn't really see a ton, except that Chop and Brew had featured you guys on their like YouTube channel, and they have a podcast too, I think. Yeah. But yeah, like super early episodes, we're talking about like all the lagers that you guys were coming out with, and that was super cool.
I saw that YouTube also.
Did you?
Yeah.
And it was like so random.
It feels random, except for again, homebrew networks run deep. That was Keith.
That is true.
Keith was good friends with the Chop and Brew. Keith lived in Denver for a bit, and he lived in. I think he lived. He's lived all over, but basically he knew Dano and he knew a bunch of those guys. Mm-hmm. So they were really, really into our project from the get-go, and so immediately they're like, "Send us some beers. We want to drink them. We want to film it." So yeah.
And they had all the kids in the kitchen or something, because during that show, you just hear screaming and toys being thrown.
It totally
if
is.
You want,
it's like in somebody's living.
If anyone knows Keith Ciani from like currently, but then seeing he actually when he lived in Denver did an episode with Chop and Brew, but he had his first daughter Nola like on the front pack.
Oh yeah,
for the whole episode.
It's just like a baby hanging from his chest.
So he's like showing. He's like, "This is how I lager beers in a closet," as he's got like a baby hanging from his.
It's funny, right before I left to come here, I was scrolling through Instagram stories and I saw that Ilk was progressing rapidly and things are shaping up. And then the absolute next flip was the fact that Fish Brew Pub is closing.
Yeah.
And apparently June 25th is their last day.
Yeah.
I just did an event there, actually.
Yeah.
Did you? Like 2 Thursdays ago.
Oh, my God.
End of an era, you know?
Yeah.
It is, man.
For sure.
Yeah, because Fish Brewing opened and along the same timeline as Pyramid and Elysian.
Yeah,
That was one of
93, I
those.
think.
Yeah, it was 92, 93. Yeah, that was one of the OGs. And the brewery closed a few years ago, but they were going to keep the brew pub going, and now that's not working out.
Yeah. It's too bad.
It's a bummer. It's a great space, and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's a great spot for down there. It's a
Yeah,
shame.
great community gathering spot.
Yeah, and
And a
it's, I mean,
whole
well, it's,
area.
it's a kind of a frustrating thing downtown Olympia. I know that we were talking about Three Magnets earlier. They had to close their kitchen just because a lot of our, the downtown area specifically, a lot of the regular people who would have been there for, city work or government work are not there. They're now all working remote. So we lost a lot of institutions. We lost the Reef, R.I.P. the Reef.
Yes.
I'll miss those chicken and waffles till the day I die.
For sure.
We lost the Reef. Three Magnets had to close their restaurant. Side they're still there brewing, so everyone please go down, watch the Sounders game, have a beer.
Man.
They've got great snacks still from the kitchen, and then now Fishtail Brew Pub. So
It's crazy because that area seems like it's coming up in like 100 other ways.
yeah, and
And
100
then you
other
still get
ways.
these- yeah.
Other ways,
That's,
yeah.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
They're putting in new apartments and fancy condos and like left and right. But the current, because they're just all coming in, there's no been living in them yet. Like the current situation's not really sustainable for the restaurant community right now.
For
so.
sure.
But you have
finish
you have
line.
Vic's across the street. Vic's Pizza.
Heck yeah, we have Vic's Pizza across the street.
Do you brew and with that in mind? Do you brew for
Honest to God, the amount of people who are like, there's, I swear, especially on the weekends, you'll walk into our tap room and it smells like Vic's Pizza because everyone's just grabbing a pizza and coming over. Or the best one is like someone sent out one of their partners, like usually dad's like, oh, I'll go get the pizza, guys. You just call in the order, I'll go get it. And they just come down the tap room and sit down and have beers sitting across the street while they wait for pizza to be done.
Yeah.
That happens all the time too.
Yeah, there's the big battle.
Took you 2.5 hours to get pizza? Yeah,
It's forever. A long line.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes the line out with Vic's Pizza's out the door. They're opening a
Vic's is
third
fire.
location.
Are they?
Yeah, they're opening a third location. For those familiar with kind of Olympia's structure, there. If anyone knows where Eastside Big Tom's is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Dinotopia right there. They're opening. They're across the way from that. So
Sweet.
Yeah.
yeah,
There's always a big debate. What's better, Vic's or Old School?
they both have a very, very key place in Olympia,
Yeah.
and I think that they both have their niche and they're different. If you're wanting a slice of za, especially like that old school style, like again, like they have the arcade games. They're like you're looking for that old school
And that Farrah
slice of-
Fawcett poster.
Yeah, that's old school. You go to old school. Like get some beers, play some arcade games, nice cheesy, greasy slice of za. If you're looking for like a nice, like well-rounded, thought out kind of whole pizza for the family, that's probably Vic's.
It's a very diplomatic answer.
It is. I mean,
I'll allow
pizza is apparently a thing because then Wicked Pies opened up downtown too, and they've got great stuff. And then we have a pop up called Bastard Pies, and they make wood fire pies too. Pizza is apparently the only survivable food in Olympia at this point in time. Like, if you want to open a food place in Olympia, it's got to be pizza. Sorry.
Except for Halyards.
Oh, Hallie's is great. And again, Carbon Pop, he's Eric, but that Carbon Pop, the minute Carbon
Totally.
Pop pops up anywhere, he's got such a following.
Yeah.
Though.
Yep.
They're there.
Dude, Halyards burgers? Have you been to Halyards yet, Ron?
Yeah.
Oh my
It's so
fucking
good.
god, it's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, they were doing like a Asian spiced hot chicken when I went, and I almost ate 2 of them.
Nice.
But I was with Arena. I don't think she would have appreciated it. So, with Headless Mummy being like strictly all loggers,
Yeah.
why?
Oh man! So the business concept was again all Keith and Alex, but I am on board 120,000%. The idea is just that when they were coming up with their recipes and the like the beers they wanted to brew, they were both in what many would call their lager phase of life, and they were going to do a lot of lagers and then maybe have like an ESB and some sort of West Coast IPA. But both of them were just like, just to like appease the masses. That just those are just for other people. We want to do the lagers.
Yep.
And then the more they kept saying that, the more they're like, well, then why are we doing this for other people? So we just decided to do they just decided to do just lagers, and I think we did it at the right time. Lagers are really, really popular right now. because they're clean, they're classic, and just people always want to throw back to a lager. And so that's just kind of our idea, is that we want to do clean, hard to do technical beers that or that are still easy drinking, nostalgic beers. So
speaking of technical beers that everybody seems to like to drink, why is your flagship beer a smoked rye beer?
Yeah. And it's so
Because-
good.
oh my god,
That shit is such a red flag to me as a distributor.
it is.
But everybody drinks yours and you guys sell the shit out of it.
It kind of goes back to what you said of like, we're the brewery that brewers come to. That's a beer that brewers want.
Oh, 100%.
That's
I
that-
love it, by the way.
Yeah, that's our beer that wins awards. That's our beer that brewers want. And exactly what you just said is why we decided to make it a flagship. As it is a technical beer. It is underappreciated kind of style. And so we figured if our flagship was something that was, that kind of beer, that style, and well done, that would kind of set a precedence for what we were doing as a whole, as a company. So,
Ooh, I like that.
yeah, it's kind of, ties into your core values and your mission statement of, our flagship beer is a smoked rye lager. And, it was just something that was different and unique, but something that once, if you had an appreciation for it, then you knew what we were doing. So
I think it's honestly the success of that particular beer is funny too, because we talk a lot about people's sort of conscious or unconscious kind of appreciation of like well composed, like technically, like sound beers. And that's like, that beer is such a good example. I have the feeling that a lot of people's first smoked beer was probably that smoked rye lager, because nobody would nobody would even think to order it on a list of a bunch of other things. But your guys is so well done. Like you said, you've won awards for it, and it still manages to be like you're a great seller for you guys. And it kind of speaks to the fact, like we talk about this a lot, speaks to the fact that the Northwest kind of has this weird elevated palate that I think most people are probably unaware of for themselves, but they still just choose quality stuff regardless of style.
Well, seeing that you were talking about the elevated palate, but the West Coast. But for me, our smoked rye, and it's not there yet. Obviously, we've only been open 5 years, almost 5 years. But for me, I feel like the smoked rye is going to be like our Allagash White. That's a big bar to set. But I'm saying,
Listen.
Here's what I'm saying. I'm saying back when Allagash White first came out. Like, obviously not now. Like, now anyone can have an Allagash White and be like, wow, this is amazing. But when it first came out, that's not what breweries were doing. Breweries were not
You're 100%
doing.
correct.
We're not doing that style of beer. No one knew what to do with it. But then the more and more people had it, the more and they were like, oh, okay, I guess I get it. And so that's kind of our smoked rye. Is no one else is doing it. It's something we do unique. Honestly, I'm shocked at how many awards it wins. If you saw those judges' scorecards, I'm shocked at how many awards it wins. So people are not nice for things that don't fit neatly into categories. Let's just put it that way.
Gold medal at gold medal at the 2019 Washington Beer Awards.
It did. It won gold. Washington Beer Awards, and it won gold at World Beer Cup last year.
Nice.
And we entered in the rye category, because if you enter a non-Roush in a smoked category, you will be eaten alive. So I've learned that lesson hard. So I enter in rye. The rye people are so much nicer. It does not have enough smoke to compete with Roush beers, and that's pretty much the notes I get, is that like not enough smoke. No, where's all the smoke? I'm not getting any smoke, and I'm like, okay, fine.
Is it Beechwood smoked malt?
It is Beechwood smoked malt, yeah. But it's about a 20-30 balance, so it's 20% smoked to 30% rye, and so that's why we choose to enter it in the rye categories. Technically, it is a bigger rye base.
Got it.
The hardest part is in both those categories, you're supposed to label what the base style is, because rye beer isn't a category and smoked beer isn't a category, so you can have a smoked something or a rye something.
Yeah.
Ours is just smoked and rye. So we usually say, Merdson? With a question mark.
Question mark in parentheses.
Kinda. Yeah. So that's how that goes.
Do you still use a lot of German malts?
We would like to. We use Wireman for all of our adjuncts. We had to switch our Pilsner malt though. Inflation.
Word. I know. It's terrible everywhere. The comment where you're like, the beer world's not super nice to things that don't fit neatly into categories is a strange allegory to the whole everything we've been talking about for the past few weeks with CBC.
Yeah. If you don't follow the rules, you don't necessarily have the best feedback.
Yeah. Goodness. Mm-hmm. Did you go to CBC this year?
I didn't.
No.
I don't ever have time or money for those kinds of events, which is kind of a bummer, but was super worried about everyone who's there and
for sure
been staying tuned to all that feedback.
Yeah. Barry at Lucky Envelope he's quite vocal about it, but posted kind of the snippets of the non-response from the Brewers Association. Yeah. It's tough to read, man.
It's tough to read, and it's almost more hurtful than non-responses because it means that you were thinking about it enough that you had your team prepared for the flack. You had your team prepared for the negative feedback.
Yeah, right.
So that means you knew.
Yep.
Which is worse, in my opinion. But yeah, it's hard because, you know, I'm more in those circles. That's the kind of the people I talk to is not necessarily the, you know, the generic
dudes
beer.
That look like me.
Yeah, dudes. Yeah. I wasn't going to say it.
I got you.
You guys, the beards and the white and but the circles I run in tend to be more inclusionary and more minority focused. So sometimes it makes it hard when we know we're doing a lot of work and we have seen and reaped the benefits of that kind of progress and that work in our own circles, and then to join the larger dynamic and have it kind of thrown back in your face.
Do you feel like Washington as a beer industry and community like is a few steps ahead in those regards versus like the rest of the country? Is that what you mean by that?
I would say so. I say most of my positive experiences have come from, you know, my fellow brewers in this community.
Yeah.
I do feel like we get a bit insular though. We tend to only hang out with and talk to the people in our vicinity. So then when you hear about stuff going on like on a national level, I'm honestly a little bit miffed sometimes when I'm talking to someone about it and they're like, what? Huh? And they have no idea.
Yeah.
And they're shocked. And it's like, why are you shocked?
Right.
You're shocked because you're only talking to other people who think like you, or other people who are next to you. In a very
comfortable vacuum.
In a very comfortable little vacuum or echo chamber. And I love that we have that supportive community in Washington. I love that I can walk into any brewery and get the kind of respect that I've earned. And I can know that others who don't look like me would also get that respect. That feels great, but it's, you know, it's about more than just being here in Washington. So.
Yeah. It's hard to like, you know, it's hard to want that for everybody else.
Yeah.
And then, you know, find a balance to sort of like, hey, I also kind of earned this and we do, you know, we've worked really hard at this. And I can't imagine how difficult that is.
It's better for sure. I remember I look from my day one and like at Fish Brewing to now is like night and day better.
Totally.
Which is astounding. Like a best example is Hop and Brew School. I went to Hop and Brew School when I was at Fish Brewing in 2017 on a Pink Boot scholarship, and that felt amazing. There was like 5 women there total, and that's a national thing.
Yeah.
I went.
That's disgusting.
It was in 2017. So
I know.
It was 5 women, and we were all like, "Hi," you know.
This is our table right here.
And it was also kind of sad because like a lot of the speakers that year were women as well, which was great, but like a lot of the attendees were not. And then I went back this last year because our Seattle Pink Boots chapter put together an entire group, and so there was 20 of us that went from the Seattle Pink Boots chapter. I went, and it was probably about 35 to 40% women there,
nice,
and people of color. I'm lumping that together, but that's a huge change,
sure.
Which again felt really great. Like I said, these kind of steps feel great, but then you see something like CBC, and you're like, is it working? Are we?
Or it's like, hey, if we can do it, why the fuck can't you guys do it?
Yeah, what's going on, guys? What, you missed the train? Like, did you miss the DEI stuff that we went over? Like, it's on the website. Did you miss it? Did you not sign
Here's the
that?
QR code. You fucking moron.
Sorry.
We're going to take a super quick break, but I do actually want to talk more about Pink Boots when we come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
So hang out. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody.
Yeah.
Also, Ron.
I'm sorry.
Ron, did you say Ron DeSwarner?
No.
Oh, man. Suck it, Ron DeSantis.
Totally.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you guys for hanging out. I don't give a fuck. You do what you think is right.
Yeah.
There's more messages on the
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yes.
I don't care. I don't care. We don't have listeners in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for hanging out. Once again, a quick shout out to Doug Mackey, our wonderful producer.
Yeah.
Yay, Doug.
Cheers.
And as you heard on the break, please do check out Channel 253. It's fantastic. It's 100% worth it to become a member and support those guys. They keep the community connected through their network of podcasts that are ranging in topics, and they are so much fun. They're so informative, and it's 100% a great way to stay connected to Tacoma. So do check out channel253.com/membership. Do you have new beer, Ron? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking the Women's Work IPL from Headless Mumby.
I thought you
just
had
cracked it open.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
So good.
I did want to. So I feel like we've never had somebody explain what Pink Boots is, actually.
Oh, yeah.
For anybody who is not familiar, any listeners who aren't familiar, will you tell people what Pink Boots is?
Absolutely. So, the Pink Boots Society is an international organization. It is a 501c3 nonprofit that was formed to inspire and educate women in originally craft beer. Now it's kind of craft beverages.
Yes.
We've expanded that. So the idea being that back when Terry Ferendorf, who lives in Portland, Oregon, local celebrity hero, she was one of the leading female in kind of craft beer. She did a tour of kind of guest brewing around and found that more women were in this industry than she realized as she was doing like kind of a national tour, and then decided to start an email chain. And from that email chain, the Pink Boots Society was kind of born. And again, the concept is that the only way for us to really kind of support that kind of equity and inclusion on a meaningful and sustainable level is through education and inspiration. So the Pink Boots Society, through various kind of fundraisers, does scholarships for anyone who's in beer at all. So you just have to make 25% of your money in beer. So
Doing
you can be a bartender at a craft beer bar. You can be distribution. You can be sales. You could be in the production side. So as long as 25% of your kind of net income is from beer or craft beverages at this point in time, you can be part of the Pink Boots Society, and again, you can apply for the scholarship. So I am a 2-time scholarship recipient.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so I got in 2017, I got to go to Hop and Brew School through a Pink Boots scholarship. It was actually right after I got my hops tattoo too, so I was like, yes,
sick,
timing.
Off.
Yeah. And then I went to the Pink Boots National Conference. So we hold every 2 years we hold a national conference, and so that was last year in 2022, I think. I'm not even sure. My brain's fried.
Time is irrelevant.
Yeah. In 2022, I went to the national conference in Charlotte, North Carolina, which, again, if there is a conference worth going to, that was a great one. Again, you have to be a member, but
Sure.
it was a great conference.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's fucking rad.
It's really rad. And, again, it's like you'll see them around. We usually do a big brew day on or around International Women's Day on March 8th. And so you'll start seeing all the breweries with the Pink Boots kind of brew social media posts
Pink
and
Boots blend,
logos.
the
Yeah.
hops.
Yakima Chief does a Pink Boots blend. So a portion, even if you're not doing a Pink Boots brew, if you buy that blend, a portion of that money goes to the Pink Boots Society. So, yeah. Yeah,
Who helped you brew this year's?
This year I was really, really low key because doing a lager, I have to do it way before March 8th. So I actually invited Missy Maxwell. I invited a few different people, but Missy was able to come. And so she is one of the key employees over at Skep and Skeen, right across the way from us. Super rad person. She does like art for Matchless's cans too. Like
cool.
She's an amazing human. And so she came by for the brew day, and we got to do the whole grain out and pouring the hops in and everything, and so that Missy was there and I was there, and we brewed it like in I think January. So
be ready.
And I even let it age. I even let it age longer than I was gonna try and have it ready for March, but then I was like, no, it's not quite there yet, so I held it back even longer. So
Dang.
I know.
Dedication. I respect
That's
that.
the slow process. That's the lager process. Sometimes I hang on to them a lot longer than I'm supposed to.
I respect it. We were talking on the break a little bit. about your multiple roles at Headless. So you're head brewer, and then what are you doing on top of that?
So at Headless Mumby, again, we're really kind of a small team. Management team consists of Alex, myself, and then our taproom manager, Kaylee Zimmerman, who is also super rad. But something that was important to me, again, like what we're talking about, is making sure that that we had a consistent and like clear code of conduct that was part of our core values. So we've always had like a really clear mission statement and core values that we kind of put out there as part of our onboarding when we get new employees. But I really wanted a code of conduct and HR support to be part of that as well. So I run the HR department. Again, for a staff of like 7 people, it's not like a huge HR department. It's just me.
You're the whole department.
But wait till that smoke dry goes Allagash white. Then you're going to need it.
But what we were talking about is we like to use our community, and so the Washington Brewers Guild was able to sign us up with a health trust, which basically means they have a better bargaining tool for signing breweries up to get health insurance for their employees. So we were able to do that. So now we offer health insurance to our employees. And part of that package is also a HR platform. So by signing up by being part of the guild and being a good team player and then signing up for our health trust, we were able to get a really, really robust HR platform incorporated. So yes, I am technically the head and sole person of HR, but I have really great tools to help me with that. So
that's fucking rad. And I feel like it's probably a tool that not a lot of brewers take advantage of. If you're not a part of your state's guild, you certainly should be. And if you are and you aren't taking advantage of everything they offer, you should certainly consider it.
We'll probably segue right into this, but we're all about joining communities and using those to find the right tools for what we need. I think that no matter what industry you're in, there is a group out there that needs your support or needs your input, and you should join it and get feedback and get the right tools that you need for your growth. So,
speaking of groups that you guys have randomly joined.
You're a member of a union.
We are. We're and I'm going to say this because we were just talking about Eater Seattle. As far as we know, we are the only union brewery in Washington State. If that is wrong, please let me know. But when we started saying that when we first signed up, but now we've been doing it. We've been part of a union for like 3 years now. So in the last 3 years, if something's changed, let me know. But we are the only union brewery in Washington.
You might be the only union brewery that belongs to this specific one.
We are definitely the only one who's part of this union. So we are part of the SMART union, which is Sheet Metal Air Rail Transportation Union. And
everybody's like, what the fuck? You're a brewery.
And we're part of, the railway, man. Trying to make those big bets. So
did you guys manage this?
So it is a bit of a trek. So Alex, the owner, comes from trades background. He's a certified electrician, and he's also worked for an HVAC company. So he's a HVAC tech. And so he was part of that union as part of his trades job. When we had been open for a while, we had decided to make a beer for the union, and we wanted it to be like a classic American lager, like a nice blue-collar garage beer kind of situation. And so when they heard that we kind of put out the feelers of like, hey, we want to make this, but we kind of want to like call it Local 66, which is our local chapter, as kind of like an homage to the working person, the blue-collar jobs. They loved that idea, but unfortunately, they can't give us that kind of permission unless they get it passed, like from the national level.
Oh, sure.
And so then it went from our local reps to the regional reps to the state to the and when we finally got on the phone with national, they were so psyched about that idea and they loved that concept. But they said, the easiest way for us to give you permission to use both like the logo, our tin tacker, our tin logo, and the Local 66 name is if you were just a certified shop, like you were designated union shop. And we said, we are a brewery. We don't.
They're like, wait, what?
We don't do that. And they're like, do you have sheet metal? And we said, yes. And they said, okay. And so once we became a designated union shop, the process to join the union was fairly simple after that. So then we just joined the union, and now we are, if you are a full-time employee in good standing, you have the option to join the union. So I pay union dues, and I get the privileges. Right now, me and Kayla are the only ones, so so I pay union dues, and I'm a union member, and I get all the privileges that is entailed with that. With mostly at our level, that means that, we're not like at will. Like if something happens as far as that needs to be reprimanded, I can contact my union person, and they can They can shake the shame stick at Alex. For us, again, it's really low key. It's not like it's me and Alex and Kaylee. There's 3 of us, and he's the person we would So it's like it's not very. It's not just for show, because it's an important thing for us, and especially as we grow, we want that.
Totally.
We want that there.
An
we want that
option.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but right now it's kind of like we don't necessarily use the terms, but they're there for us. It's a support system, right? So.
And you brewed a beer after it too.
We did, yeah. So we that one time kind of fun beer for our union turned into a year-round product that is very, very popular. It's one of our best sellers. It's our local 66 American Lager. Mm-hmm. So you can see it. It has like the the sheet metal union logo of the little bulldog with tin shears and a little tin hammer in his mouth, and
that's amazing.
Yeah,
yeah. And so we're a union brewery, very proud about it.
That's so rad. Would you recommend other breweries try to finagle this?
100%. Again, it's like for small breweries. It maybe the benefits don't outweigh the costs for you at this time, but it's a good support structure to have in place, especially if growth is part of your long-term plan. Also, our union rep has said that he gives us stacks of his cards all the time. He's like, anyone else wants to join, you just let me know. So they are open to it. Yeah.
Do you have sheet metal?
Yeah. Do you have sheet metal?
Within arm's reach.
Yeah. Hooray!
You're a shop now. Yeah. Please send us beer.
Yeah. No, that is part of it too. Is that we being a union brewery, whenever they have any union functions, we are the sole provider. Most of it is local 66, but
that's fucking rad.
Yeah. So like they just had a golf tournament down in Olympia. It was like a regional golf tournament too. So they had hundreds of people there, and it was all local 66 all day.
That's so cool. Yeah. I wonder how many unions have their own beer.
Yeah, we've made the union. Yeah, again the union magazines, because they put their own. So we've made the newsletter and magazines multiple times. And
cool.
Yeah.
That's fucking sweet.
How do you have time to do all this?
What a great question. Have you heard of ADHD? No, I honestly, my partner jokes with me all the time. He's like, if you sign up for one more thing, I'm going to have you committed. I'm like, you're not wrong. Thank you for taking care of me.
Yeah. You're the one brewing all the beer.
Yeah. I'm going to be doing a 14-hour day tomorrow.
Oh.
Would you like to
I did
join?
one of those yesterday.
Yes.
It fucking sucked.
Yeah, I get in there about 4:30, and I usually leave about 6 or 7.
Amazing.
I pick up the
dude.
yeah, so the kids get dropped off with me, and then I go pick the older one up from school, and we finish the day.
Huh.
Yeah. And still do social media too, which you kill.
I try. I let Kaylee take over our Headless Mumby social media because I just couldn't keep up with that. That was just one thing I had to let go.
Yeah, but your personal is also
my
very...
personal social media. I do. I know you guys are talking about. I am on the TikTok.
Yeah, good.
I do love the TikTok.
Good for you.
Yeah, you were talking about Barry made the post about my post was on TikTok because that's my comfort zone right now. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
my comfort zone. I like the TikTok.
Is locked in.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have my good little. I'm on the book talk.
Describe your algorithm.
My algorithm.
Your algorithm in 3 words.
In 3 words.
3 words.
Three words or 3 niches.
Okay, 3 niches.
3 niches. As much as I am a craft beer person, I actually don't. I get a lot of feedback from Beer Talk, but I don't get a lot of my For You page is not very much Beer Talk. It is book talk. It is mom talk, and it is LGBTQIA rights. That's my TikTok.
Yay.
Word.
Yeah.
I cannot find like the right Beer Talk stuff out there.
I find it's fun when you find it, but there's a lot of
Garbage.
Yes, tons.
yeah,
Garbage.
yeah.
Sorry.
There's a lot. There's some great people I follow. Craft Beer Girl, she's local too. Has a really good TikTok, and
I follow too.
Yeah, again, there's some great ones. Some of them is just dim lights in a room, here's my can.
Yeah.
Look at it.
You're like, is that your fire alarm beeping in the background? Get your fucking life together, man.
Yeah. I like the beer travel guide.
Sorry. Is that too much? That's too much.
Yeah.
Sorry. I've had a long day.
Beer travel guide's good.
Beer travel guide is great.
Beer travel guide's good.
I like that one.
The beer narrator's really great too. He's got really great educational stuff. He's out of Chicago. And then the rest of them are just kind of,
There's a really, I might pull it up. There's a really good fucking branding one. I know we're talking about TikTok now. Ron, TikTok is this, it's this app that you put on your phone.
Oh, this sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it's the tool they're using to indoctrinate the youth. The Chinese are using it to turn everyone gay. Just so you
Stacey,
know.
you're coming back.
Can you help us? Can you help us with our HR?
There's a really good one. I wish I could fucking find it. But it's like all beer business. I wish I could remember the name. But the dude like makes these great, super informative TikToks on like how to brand your beer, how to do like cost breakdowns, and like how to do rotating UPCs for like grocery active. It's like super specific beer business
nice
stuff, and it's fucking awesome.
See, and again, I think that's the difference between and again, I don't want to knock general consumers because obviously they're what drive us, but like I think that's also the difference between being in the industry and being like just like an aficionado or an appreciator. Like,
speaking of which, it's Beer Aficionado on TikTok.
Oh, Beer Aficionado. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think I do follow that one. Yeah.
So good.
But yeah, so that's just, the difference is that, things I'm looking for on beer TikTok are like, how do I change up my branding? What kind of new market should I be targeting?
Yep.
And whereas like other people who are just there to appreciate beer, like they just want to see like, oh, what's a new kind of beer? Maybe I can go try. So
That's funny because mine is like, if Beer Talk had a spectrum, my algorithm would be on each side because I like will follow Beer Aficionado to get like beer business stuff, and then my other side is like all just like dudes drinking smoothie sours in front of a camera.
yeah.
And I love all of it.
I mostly post about beer stuff. So again, I'm in Beer Talk and I definitely see Beer Talk. But if I'm just on my FYP, it's like it's 90% not Beer Talk.
Were you the one behind the last year's tournament of loggers and the detour?
That was me.
Yeah.
Yes, that was me.
Stop motion.
Man,
That
you
was spectacular.
Yeah, you give me a creative outlet or a challenge, I'm there, and I was like, I'm not losing this, and then I did. It's okay. But I lost to E9, and E9's amazing, so I really am not. I'm not upset about it, but I was like,
But good
dang.
job. That was impressive.
Doug says it's fuck up story time.
Oh, I got so many, and that's sad.
That's my problem. All of mine blur together.
Many.
One that threatened your life.
Yeah, have you all almost died from making beer before?
Okay, I have one where I almost killed someone, one where it was the worst first day of training ever. It was the end of the day, and then one which was totally definitely not my fault. And if Alex says it is, he is lying.
What? Okay. One of those things is not like the other. You almost killed someone?
I didn't really. It's a bit of a misnomer because so I was dry hopping at Fish Brewing. We had 120 barrel tanks, so we were brewing 3 times a day on a 40 barrel system to fill 120 barrel tanks. 35 40 barrel system. But anyway, but the dry hopping, because our biggest seller was Beyond the Pale, and that was like 4 45-pound boxes of hops to go in the dry hop. It was a lot. And I was dry hopping one of the big tanks, and you have a little bit of built pressure. I was all done dry hopping. I'm putting the cap back on, and I had set the tri-clamp on top of the tank. And so I have my hand on the port, and I'm for those of you who cannot see me, I am 5 feet tall. I am not a tall human. And most things in most breweries are built for very tall humans. But just because I'm literally standing on the rails of the scissor lift and I can't reach where the clamp has kind of scooted itself to. And so I'm like desperately trying to reach this clamp. Oh, no. And as I'm doing it, my hand slips off and the pressure built up in the tank shoots this 4-inch stainless steel disc into the air and straight down. And again, 120 barrel tanks. I'm about 3 stories up.
Yeah, that's so high.
And it shoots straight down. And again, luckily, the only one in the production area at that point in time was Paul, but he was going between tanks and taking readings. And he was not there, thankfully, because I had a panic moment. I didn't even know. Like, I was just like, bah! I didn't even say, look out. Be careful. I was just, words. So it went straight down like vertical, and there was a huge chip in the concrate.
Oh, would have killed somebody.
If it had hit somebody, it would have been the end of days. Again, luckily, it did not. And I didn't kill anyone. And that's how the story ends.
You didn't fuck up.
But I did have to take the scissor lift all the way back down, crank up the CO2 so that I was busting CO2 out so I wasn't oxygenating that beer, scrub that thing really quick, sanitize the hell out of it, get the scissor lift all the way back up to the top, put it back on the right way. Yeah, so.
What's this random hole in the ground?
Yeah, it was
Shut
a
up, it's none of your
huge
business.
chunk. Yeah, nothing happened. Okay. Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right, Grit and Grainers. Email us at cheers@gritandgrainpodcast.com with your comments, opinions, and beer toast to those who bravely served the United States and did not return home to their families. Happy Memorial Day.
Yeah.
We read and drink everything we receive, and we try to respond as quickly as we can. If not online, then on air. You can subscribe to Grit and Grain on Amazon, Apple Music, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher. And please leave us a review. Also, check us out on Channel 253. Woohoo!
Yay!
And gritandgrainpodcast.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for episode notes, beer news, and updates from the Grit and Grain House guillotine operator, who ironically is named Charles Headless Mumby, who, if could, would sever heads every day, because he's not just severing heads, he's thinking about severing heads, because if he's not thinking about severing heads, he wouldn't be taken as serious about his craft. Mr. Mumby is very serious about his craft, so much so that he practices every morning, which he calls Mornings with Mumby. After making coffee, he serves severs 4 or 5 foam heads he makes from Croissant blow off from his homebrew kit. Grit Grain hasn't really needed Mr. Mumby's talent, but you never know when heads will roll. If this podcast is not what you expected, please alter your expectations. We watched a TikTok, ate a Tic Tac, stepped on a Pop Top, blew out a flip flop, cut our heel, and had to cruise back home and said, hippity hop, hip hop, hippity hop to the hip hop, don't stop rocking to the bang bang boogie beat. No, you be quiet. No such thing as a bad time to visit Tacoma. No such thing as too much barley wine. Tune in next Friday for more sweet chatter. Cheers.
Cheers.
I don't know how you do those every week.
Thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget to follow us at Grit and Grain Podcast wherever you get your social media, and catch new episodes every Friday. Cheers.
Get up.
This is Channel 253.